Welcome back to part 3 of the Iowa Purdue game in the Big Ten tournament from a week or so ago. If you could click the subscribe button, comment, like, share, it's always appreciated with our channel. And we're going to jump right into this. There's a lot. This is a great game. A bunch of All-Americans, 2 first-team All-Americans in Ivy and Murray. Love Bohannon, and I'm curious about the big kid for Purdue. Right, he's got a ways to go in terms of my eyes and my perspective, but I really like watching him play because I want to see what he's able to do. Right, I know this is not the best camera angle here, but this is what our kids have to learn. It's just simple basketball, right? Very simple. Fundamental basketball. Trailing big. Ball's being brought up. They're in some sort of secondary right now, even though they didn't score, right? He's running to pin down. It's not the best camera angle. He's going over the top of the screen. And it's just a pass to a guy cutting to the nail with a trail, right? So people have to be jumping. So, Bohannon's got to be jumping. He's on the trail. He's there, right? And nobody gets a shot, a hand up. He's late with the hand. But we get the rebound and, not much of a fast break. But here's what you have to understand about this fast break. One, I love the idea of the bigs just automatically know, hey, I'm going to pin down pop, look for curl cuts. They understood playing it to the nail, things of that nature, right? But here's the fast break. And it doesn't look like they've got a true big at Iowa, right? And, because it looks like the Murray, Keegan Murray seems to get in there a fair amount, I don't believe this is him. It might be him. This might be him, right? But look, he's running to the rim. He's running wide. He's getting wide, and he's here. I don't know if Bohannon's still in, right? He is. He's right here. Run wide. If you're a dead three, get out and run wide and run fast, right? Murray's right here, and he's not looking. But look, here's what I really love about Bohannon. We've seen it in the other films. He's the first wing runner with a trailing shooter, and he's automatically going to run it into a flare screen. Automatically. So there it is. This guy goes over the top to the body, and he's probably just going to pop. There it is, right? The All-American's not doing anything, but that doesn't mean he's not doing something valuable, right? He's just doing nothing. But he could be getting ready to get a pin down. He could be going down and up. Like there's something going on, right? But there's a lefty three, right? So in transition, let's see what happens. It's a catch and shoot. But here's what I like. I love the flare on the weak side. I love the pop. And look. So he's done some things that I haven't loved, right? This is the big that came in for the other big, right? He was contesting. He did run the floor in part 2. He was doing some things, but slow to close out here, right? And you could say scouting report, a number of different things cause this, right? But there's the flare and pop. And here we got the All-American on the weak side of the floor. But watch. He just doesn't seem as interested in that closeout. But here's the thing, right? You've given up a bunch of shots in part 1 and part 2. It was 12-5 or 10-5. Then you gave up if you watch part 2, number 50, the guy that just didn't close out with the intensity that I think you need to, right? Blocked out Keegan Murray on part 2 and then didn't sustain the block out while you were on a run. You were down 10-5. You then gave up that offensive rebound to Keegan Murray, and then the next possession, you get a miss, although you did go screen down, and that was the first possession here. The second thing is you don't close out. So now all of a sudden they're on a 5-0 run. So you go on a 5-0 run to get back into it, and you could say this stuff's not important. I think every possession's important, and you were going on a run, and now you let them back into it because you don't sustain a block out and because you have a bad closeout. And you could say that stuff's not important, right? And you could say that this is a great closeout. I don't think that's how we would have an elite guy close out. He's kind of standing around. He's watching the ball. It's a slow closeout. He does get his hand up, but it's like a one-step closeout instead of like the sprint that the other guy had in part 1 where he closed out really tight. So now they're on a 5-0 run, right? And it's a 5-point game. You end up losing by, 5-10. Dribble handoff to a ball screen, right? To a flat ball screen with no angle. Now, you're lucky. Here, he flops it. There's no angle to it. He's playing it loose. But here's what everybody's got to be thinking. This is what I would be coaching our kids to do. Dribble handoff to whom? to the All-American, to your best player, to a first-team All-American, to a top 5 player in the NBA draft, right? Ivy, right? So we're not really playing him. We're just playing him head up and letting him dictate what happens. No angle to the screen, which might be fine. That might be exactly how they draw it up. It could be a flat ball screen, shoulder to shoulder, and let Ivy determine which side he wants to roll down. That's cool, right? But he flops it. So he gets up here with 1 or 2 pounds. Watch. Dribble handoff, pound. So it's a pound cross working downhill. Here's my point. Cross. Contact on the second pound. Immediate contact. So if I were taking notes, if I were a coach, if I were a skill development guy, if I were a player, and these are the things I'm learning as well, right? It's contact on the second pound, if not the first pound. It was a cross pound with contact. But here's what I would be thinking. You've got to know the All-American has it. You've got to be in this lane. You've got to have 2 feet in the paint. You've got to be protecting. Like 5 guys, this is an emergency situation. And so he pounds it twice with contact, gets to the rim, and makes an NBA play with contact. You can't let your All-Americans do that. Now, right? So there's this. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here as well. Here's what I like. Ivy goes downhill. Nobody gets to him. He creates the contact. He takes the fight to the fight, right? They immediately get the ball inbounded. They get the ball at 3/4 court on the pound. And then Ivy gets back. Good on him. He lets him go. But listen, that's it, right? So they automatically get it there. They inbound it. Nobody slows ball up. So we're going to go back to 10 seconds. 1 pound, he's at half court, right? Ivy's the one that got to the rim, so good on him getting back. So Ivy, listen, here's what I would say as a coach. You're going to this is important. So if you make it this far in the video, I appreciate it. But here's what I'd be coaching. Ivy is the one that drew the contact, went through 3 or 4 people and got the layup and ends up out of bounds. He's out of bounds. And you're going to tell me that with him out of bounds and making the play, that he's going to outrun everybody? Because he's already there. And he outran these guys. Right? Now, maybe he was going to stick the ball. Maybe he's taking the guy that took it out of bounds. That's cool. But all I know is this. He got to the rim. Against this guy, against Ivy, 2 guys that didn't want to run back, or maybe they're coached to do something different. I just know he was out of bounds, right? And he almost stopped the ball, right? So then, we get all this, and then the ball goes to Bohannon. I believe that's him. Yep. So, but here's what you have to know. Here's the difference in closeouts when we started this between 50 and everybody else. I'm not railing on the guy, but here's the desire. They went on a 5-0 run, and luckily Ivy just got that. But here's the difference. Closing out hard. Hands are up because he understands that this guy is an NBA 3. I'm not saying he's going to play in the NBA. I'm not saying all that, but I know this guy can shoot it, right? Then the ball gets changed. Here's another closeout. Sprint. Hands up, chopping feet. Now, I don't know who everybody is, but this is the guy. Look at, now you're closing out. Okay, so I like that much better. Now I like this much better out of this possession than the other possession. That's sprinting to close out. That's high hands. This is clearly an emphasis with what Purdue does. You could watch this for the 5 minutes we've been watching this, and you could clearly identify the teaching points and the emphasis that Coach Painter has with his team. It's definitely closing out. That is an emphasis, right? Everybody seems to do it. Although I think 50 on the one possession could have done better. So here's the thing. And this is on Ivy now. Watch Ivy's block out on 24. Just gets out toughed. Right? And I know that's being out toughed and toughness and all that is a Purdue thing, right? I know it is, right? It's a Michigan State thing. It's a Purdue thing, right? Those are teams that hang their hat on being tough and physical and being able to sustain blockout. But we've had 2 possessions now where they haven't. And it has led to positive things for Iowa. skip to a shooter, good on 50, bad, bad on that. This is what we tell our kids right here. You get level with them. You get level with the blockout. Don't concede the blockout, get shoulder to shoulder and get level. If you get level with the blockout, there's some portion of it that's luck, that the ball bounces your way. There's a second portion of it is that you've got to be tougher than them. Get level, get lucky, get tough, right? That's what you have to do here. And right here, that ball goes up, and right there, he wins the toughness battle. He wins it over Ivy because he got level, shoulder to shoulder. And he got level, got fouled, and Ivy's a good player. He's an All-American. He's a top 5 draft pick, and he got what he wanted, right? So that's perfect, right? So listen, another good video, I think. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot of good lessons in this. Please subscribe to the channel. Please comment. Appreciate all the feedback we're receiving, the messages I'm receiving kind of offline with this. Really appreciate it. We're learning a lot. I'm learning a lot, right? There's a lot to show our group. On this one, there's a lot to take away in terms of closeouts, in terms of knowing where All-Americans are, not letting them get to the rim, how quickly Iowa gets the ball out of bounds and goes the length of the floor, how Ivy's out of bounds and outruns 2 of his teammates to try to stop the ball, although he wasn't able to, right? How we get leveled to shoulder on rebounds and try to get lucky and try to out-tough people. I think there's great lessons in all that. All right, appreciate all the support for the channel. Thank you.